Okay.
Hello, welcome to the classes example. Uh, Basically, taking a further deep dive into creating classes in Java, explaining first what a class is, talk about attributes, talk about variables. Then also after that, we're going to explain methods in Java. So today we're going to create classes and we're going to create methods. All right, are you with me?
I'm with you.
Okay, so I'll call it classes method example. So initially, the question then starts, what is a class? Right? I want to open in this window. What is a class? The basic example of a class in layman's terms, we're basically saying that a class is it's it's a blueprint that we use. Right? By blueprint, I mean it's something that we use to create something. Right? Think of a class as a house. Right? A house where you stay, that is a class, right? And that house has rooms, and those rooms become what we know as methods. So a class is basically a house, one big blueprint that we use when we're creating an object, right? An object is just a mini version of a class. So all these buzzwords that you are hearing, I'm going to explain deeper. So basically, a class is a blueprint, right? So it's like, for example, if we have people, if we have humans, right? If we have a class called human, that means in that class, uh, we are going to expect everything that is common to almost all humans, right? We are alive, we walk, we see, right?
So,
Uh,
so the class is more like, in my own word, it's more like a head, and you have subs under it. Correct?
yeah, something like that. More like a head, more like something that becomes a blueprint, something that we use when we want to define something. For example, if I say create a car is an object. For us to say, okay, how can I create a car? Then you're going to create the class car, right? So from the class
Right.
car, you are going to have characteristics of that car, like characteristics
Ah,
of that car, like it's the color of the car, the windows of the car, is it a four-seater, is it oil or danger, right? Those are
got you.
attributes of that class that all
Okay.
cars in the world will use, right?
Okay.
So every car in the world you need to have wheels, has the ability to have wheels. All the cars in the world needs to um, to have at least a particular color, right? You can't have a colorless car. Um,
Just like you have jollof rice and you have ingredients that you use for the jollof
exactly.
rice.
So yes, so jollof rice becomes a class. It's an object, right?
Okay.
It's something that we can
Okay.
represent standalone. So jollof rice is a class, and then
Okay.
the ingredients that you make jollof rice with, those are called
Mm-hmm.
attributes of the rice, right? Attributes.
Gotcha.
So like you have what you call it, like you use onions, cooking oil, all those things are attributes, right? Now a method then, a method are things action wise, like eating the rice, like cooking the rice, like selling the rice, like throwing away the rice. Those becomes the methods. So we have a class
Okay.
called jollof rice. We have attributes which are things like onions, cooking oil,
Mm-hmm.
this and that. And then we have actions that we take on the jollof rice, like eating the rice, walking,
So method
selling
is
the rice.
more like the action point. More like
Exactly. That's the
okay.
element I needed you to reach. So basically, a method is what is more like an action, right?
Okay.
Some things that we want to do within our class. That's an action, right? So so whenever you're creating a class, you need to understand there are particular things that you have to follow when you're creating a class, right? And when you create a class, the key things you put about the class, those are called the attributes. The actions that you're going to put about that class, those become methods, right? So I've talked about classes, I've talked about attributes, and I've talked about methods. What are those things in code? I am going to show you here. I just created a new project. Like I said, in IntelliJ is one of the best IDE used. In IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Just a fancy way of saying this is where we write our code, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, uh, in this case, what are we going to do? We're going to go to the source folder, SRC. Right click, create new, then we create a new Java class, right? I want to call it classes, methods, attributes, example. I would never advise you to create a class that's with such a very big name. I'm just doing it as a way of,
Okay.
showing, right? So what does Java have? Java has this amazing thing that says, whenever you create a class, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a class that is public, like this thing over here, right? If you have a class that is public, that means that the name of your class and the name of the file should be the same. What do I mean by that? I mean that the name of the file I mean the name of this file. You see right here, this class that
Mm-hmm.
I underlined, public class, right?
Yeah.
And then I want you to see here.
Mm.
You see that? That's the name of the
Okay.
file. It's exactly as the name of the uh, public class, this method, right?
Okay.
No, sorry, not
It
method.
has to
Sorry.
be
The name of the file
the
and the name of
class.
the public class is the same,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now,
Okay.
why is this important? I am going to show you something. Remember, all the time I've showed you when you go to folders, where is this located? Let's open up where this is located. You can just see
Cop-
that by,
copy path reference.
yes, copy of the root path. I come to, I then come to my personal, where I have my personal documents. I just paste the path. It takes me directly to where that is, right? In here, into the folder, right? You see, like that, right? Class
Mm-hmm.
method. This is that file, right? Now, this
Right.
being public means, uh, this being public means that this becomes an entry point to this class. So if I create another class and I want that other class I created to have access to information in this class, then this
Mm-hmm.
should be public. If I create another class, like here, let me create another one, that I'll call class runner, right? Class runner, class runner, class runner. So I've created another class called class runner here, right? You see, this class is public. That means if this is public and this is public, that means both of these two different classes can communicate to each other because I have access to that by making everything inside that class to be public. So the keyword public is basically a access modifier, right? What do I mean by this? This is what I mean. I mean that like public allows you
Mm-hmm.
to access the information in the class.
So, with what I've read in the past, public class will allow you have access to, but you can't change it. Correct?
Um,
Will
by
it let you
changing,
change it?
yeah, it's going.
Changing whatever information that's inside, you can change it. You can just have access to it, right?
I will explain that as we go closer. I don't want to confuse you with some concept
Okay, okay, okay,
when we
okay.
go ahead. So public class allows you access to that information. Right? So what does also that mean? That means inside here, I can't create another class and call it public class people, right? It will give me an error. Why? Because the computer is confused. Hey, you have this public, yet this is the entrance.
Oh, okay.
But I can have this just being its own. And you can go ahead and have as many classes as you want in this code.
But you can just add public to it.
Exactly. So whenever you
Okay.
look at code that's written, it always has just one public class. Are we together on that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So what we say the class is just a blueprint that we use when we're creating objects. Right now, we're gonna create. I want to change this name of this method, right, into something that is more useful. So to change, I come here, I right click, I go to rename file, and then I want to put person. I'll call it human.
So what are we doing now? You trying to create another one?
No, I am just changing. I'm refactoring the name of to human. So you see, if I change the name of this file to human, this one, the public one gets an error. So I have to change this also to human. Why? Because the public class it should be the same as the file name. That's a
Okay,
rule.
I'm confused. You lost me there. Okay. So which one did you change first? The number 3?
What I changed first was I changed the name of this. This class was once called class method runner example, right?
Right,
And I
right.
wanted to I wanted to change it into something that makes sense that we're gonna work on. So I just changed it to human. But because this is the one that is next to public, and I call this human, I have to change the name of the file because the rule says your class name, the class name, which is the one that is a public class, and the
Mm-hmm.
file name are supposed to be the same.
Okay.
That is how Java finds an entry point into this
Ah,
document. Yeah.
I see. So the class runner on the side is
Mm.
also the same. I see it under the SRC.
You see, class runner, class runner, class
Okay,
runner. Human.
okay.
That's how it is.
Got it. Okay,
You
okay,
got
I
it?
got it now.
So that's the rule that you have. So if you find yourself in here writing code and then creating another class that is public like that, like this, and say public class, and then you say it or something, it will give you an error. Why? Because you already have that class defined. But it tells you class it is public should be declared in file name.java, it.java. That means, hey, you should just create another file like this, because this one is already the access mode, the class that gives you access to this file. And coming here, we're trying to give it access with public again, which it will give you an error.
That makes sense. Okay.
That makes sense. Okay. Now, what do we have inside a class? First and foremost, I usually like going through a dummy situation. I usually like giving people or my students a way of understanding these things. How do you create a class, right? So we say how do you create a class? So what you're looking for here is a number of things. Your first step, right, is
Mm-hmm.
determining first, right? You want to determine if private or public. You are trying to determine first if your class is private or if your class is public, right? That's the first thing when you do when you're creating a class, right? And then
Yeah.
if it's public, you use the public keyword. You get it? Use the public keyword.
Yes.
This keyword here is used to determine if the class is public or private, right?
Okay.
And then after that, you use the class keyword. All of these are things that you are being given by Java. That's why when you look at public and class, they're all orange. You don't have to write that. That comes with Java already. Do that make sense?
Java changes that color for you.
Why? No, it's just an indicator to tell you that where that information is coming from. And then we're followed by the class name. Class name. And for easy perspective, the name of the class should always starts with the capital letter. So if you have a name like eat, sleep, walk, or something, it should always start with the capital letter, and you use what is known as, I think that's the camel case, where each first letter is capitalized. Yeah. Especially when you're dealing with classes. When you're dealing with methods, every name of the method is small letter. When you're dealing with classes, every name of the class is capital letter. You hear me?
That makes sense. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to pause here and give myself 5 minutes. Yes, so we basically say, just to reiterate, a class is a blueprint or template of creating an object, right? Right. A class is a blueprint or template that we use to create an object. And we basically say that attributes are basically fields, and behavior of that class is what we call methods, right? And we say, for example, in this case, we're going to create a class called human, right? What are some attributes that a human has? Did you hear my question? What are some of the attributes that a human has?
Attributes?
Yes. By attributes, I mean things that every single human in the world kind of share.
When you're a human, you have your body, you have your hands as human, you have your hands, you have legs, you have eyes.
Nice.
So
nice.
now you explain that
Those,
the method itself is you using those stuff is what makes it a
yes.
method.
Okay. So for example, you went deep down into the attributes. That's good also. Now high level, when we're talking about a human, right? We're talking about like you have a name, right? Every person has a name. Every person has an age. Every person has gender. Every person has a height. Every person has a weight. You know, every person has eye color, hair color, you know, head size. Do you wear glasses or something like that, right? So those are attributes. So what is an attribute? An attribute is just like things that make up the human, right? So we can have something like age, right? Age, like that. We can have a gender. Gender. How should we? How should I put gender as what? What gender? What attribute is gender? What type of variable can gender be?
Gender. When you say attribute, what do you?
Okay, so basically an attribute of a class.
Is it that male or female, right? Is that
Exactly,
what
that's
you
what I
asked?
meant.
Okay.
Yes. What
Okay.
variable can I use to store gender?
Uh, yeah, you can use a variable.
Of what
Don't
type?
tell me. You can, I think. I think character.
Exactly. Good job. Right.
Yeah, because that's not one letter or whatever.
Yes. Then we have gender. What we have a name. How should I store name it?
Name.
What variable type is name?
Name you can use a string.
Good job. Right. So all of these that you see here, all of these things that you see here, those are what we call attributes of a class. What is an attribute? An attribute is basically a variable that we put directly under the class. Right, directly under the class. How? What do I mean by that? So if you wanna autocorrect, fix this, for Windows, it's Control Shift Alt L, and you say,
Control.
okay, Control Shift Alt L. It's a for Windows. I don't know how
Control
you find that for
shift. Which one is out?
Alt is the one with ALT next to the space
Okay.
bar.
Control shift out what?
Alt and the letter L.
L. L as in lion.
Yes. So Control Shift Alt L. It will give you this format file, and then it will ask
Okay.
you the whole file, only changes or selected. So in this case, if I do this, Control Shift Alt L, you ask me which one I need, and then I'll say, you can ask it to clean up code, optimize outputs, and all that. But right now, we just want to rearrange the code. Okay, and then it fixes it. For example, let me do this. So I wrote this there. I wrote this here, right? There is no
Yeah. So,
order.
you see what you're showing me now? It happened to me when I was practicing on Friday, and my stuff went out. I didn't know how to fix that, so I was just shifting back. I was backspacing, and that took a little while. Okay.
Yeah, so you
I
press
just
Control
learned
Shift
now.
Alt L. It
Okay.
then on this format file to show selected, and then you say run. Look at that, fixes it for
Mm,
you.
that's cool.
Mm. Mhm. Those are just good things to know. Okay, so now, what is an attribute, right? An attribute is basically a variable. That's what it is. The only difference between an attribute and a variable is we put attributes right under this class, not inside any method. You see, we don't have a method here, right?
Mm,
So if
yeah.
I have a method like PSV in here, and I have int sex, like that, right? This is called a
Yeah.
variable. Why? Because it's inside this method, right? These ones
Yes.
are not inside the method, are right directly under the class. That's why we call these guys attributes. And why do we have things here and things here? It means that when you have something here, it's available throughout this whole class. If you have something inside here, it's only available inside that method.
Okay.
Right. So when I come here and I want to create another method. Let me just say public and I'll explain the method thing. Public int, actually public void. Then we say happiness, happy. Right, I'm creating this method called happy. Inside this method, if I say sex, I can't access sex. You see that? We have sex here, but I can't access it inside this method. Why? Because sex is only belonging to this method, right? But when I come here and I say age, I have access to age.
Oh, because age belongs to the integer age.
Yes, because age is an attribute. It is available through all the methods I'm going to write inside. Right. That's why we call it an attribute of a class. Now, I can access gender, I can access name, but I can't access sex. Right. If I come here and say sex, then I'll say equals to 10. Like it doesn't know what sex is. You see? Why? Because sex is a variable. But if I check this in sex, and I put it here, right? Look at that. I can access it.
Okay, why?
I can access it because it's no longer inside the method. You see, curly braces show us where this PSVM method starts and ends, right?
Yes.
And happy starts and ends there. And you see all these guys, age, gender, name, and sex, they are not inside any method. They are directly next to the class. Why? Because that's what we call an attribute of the class.
Ah, okay. So those attributes works, but line 31, no, line 19, 20 is after the curly braces. So it's like you're forming another one.
Yes, I'm forming another method. Yes. But here, what I want you to notice is that a int age is a variable, right? But when that variable is put directly under a class, what do I mean? I mean, the variable is right inside the class. See how it is inside a class like this now?
Yes.
The class starts from the top to the bottom. This method starts from here and here. These variables are not inside any method. They're just standing alone. That's why they are called attributes of a class, right?
Okay.
If I take this and put them inside here, I've put them inside this method. You see? Now, these are now variable. And these variables are only accessible inside this method. Outside here, we can't access them because their scoping is only scoped inside this method. That's the method is the one that knows what age. If you come to this one, it doesn't know what age. If we create another method, say public void, okay. If I create another method like this, this one does not know what sex is in sex, right?
Oh.
Doesn't know.
Okay.
Right.
So line 21 and line 27 doesn't know what you're talking about.
Line 21 and line 27, they don't know. Like you're saying, hey, you are saying you need this word sex, this variable age. What are you talking about? I don't know. Why? Because these variables are written inside the method. So whenever a variable is inside a method, like this is a method, these variables are inside. It only belongs inside here. You can only use it inside there.
Okay.
Now, this is what we call a variable. But when you take the variables, and instead of putting them inside the method, you put them right under the class. Like here, you see now where I've pasted them.
Oh.
Now, these ones become attributes of classes because they don't belong to any method.
Okay.
They belong to the class. Now, when you have them like that, that means any method you write can access them. Like you see, I don't have an error because this method can access age and sex. This one can access it. I can write 100 methods here and all of them using information from here, and it will still work fine. Do I make sense?
That makes sense.
Yes.
So basically, under the method, if you put this stuff line 5 to 11 under 15,
inside
you might have
15.
issues. Inside 15, you might have issues. But if you
Yes.
put it under class, you can still access it fine.
Yes, you can still access it in all the methods that you write in that class.
Okay.
So why am I showing you this? Because this is what is known as the attributes of a class. Why? Because attributes of a class are just nothing but just variables that we put directly to the class. That's why we call them attributes of a class. Now,
okay.
Why are attributes important? This is important because when we create another class, we can access these values here. What do I mean? I'll come to this class and create a PSVM method. You remember the PSVM method, public static void main?
Yes, I do.
Right. In this method, I am going to create an object of the class that I'm looking for. So the class I'm looking for, I want to look inside is human. So I'm going to use an object. So what is an object? An object is just something that helps us to get access to a particular class. And in this case, we want to access the human class, right? So I'll say human, then I'll give the name of the object as human, small letter. You can call this whatever you want. You can call it Jollof or whatever. This one, because this is just the name of the object, right? Is equals to new, and that's the keyword we use when we're creating an object, human. And then we close it like that. So now, if I say human dot, right, I get access to gender, a name, sex, and age. You see that? Gender, name, sex, and age. What are these things?
Oh.
These are things inside. These are the attributes of that thing.
Okay. They are inside the class.
Yes. But if I create a method here and I call it public void, let me say Jollof, right? This is just me creating a method, eh? And I take all of this and put them inside this method. You see that? Now there's nothing within the class, but inside the method, that's where I put those values, right? When I come here and say human dot, look, I can only access Jollof, the method. I can't access name, I can't access age and all that.
Oh, okay.
Do you get it?
Yeah, so you can't access the age, all that good stuff, just the Jollof that you just created.
Yes.
That's the one
Why?
you'll be able to
Because
access.
Jollof is public, right? If I remove this Jollof and put private, like now, if I come here and say human dot, look, I can't access Jollof again. Gone. You see?
Okay.
Jollof is gone. I can't access that method again. Why? That's why when I tell you that this is keyword is access, gives us access. So that means even if you get access to this class, you can't get access to this method because it's private, right? Now, if I leave this method and say public again, I've called it public. If I come here and I say human dot, look, Jollof is there. I can get access to Jollof. Why? Because it's public. Yeah. So that's why public is a keyword for access modifying. Do I make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and take these guys back. And I'll leave Jollof too inside here, right? So when you have this now, there is something in programming that we call encapsulation. What do I mean?
Okay.
I mean encapsulation is hiding of very sensitive information, right? We are encapsulating it. We're putting it into capsules. You see how when you're drinking pills, right? There's those pills that they put the powder inside and they close it with some plastic thing that you drink, and then that thing opens up when it's in your stomach, and the pill dissolve, right? We have that. That's a capsule, right? That's what we call capsule, right? So the same thing is here is, instead of when somebody comes to this class runner and says human dot, we are now giving access to know our gender, our sex, our name, our age. You see, we're just giving him too much information. You see that?
So one more thing. So anytime you want to check the access, like human dot whatever, so you have to create two different classes, so you have class runner.java, you have human.java. So you have to do it side by side to be able to have access to. Is that how that works? Or
no, not really, but this is just cleaner when you're creating, because you can take this class dot, this class that we have here, right? This one right now. Close it like that, and come here, put it here, and just change this from public to just class run. In the same page. I put it in the same page. As long as I have one public, this one, I'm fine. I can have this class underneath and then create this and still access it. Gender, sex, age, name. You see that?
Okay.
So the runner class is just a class that we put in the PSVM method.
Oh, no, that makes sense now.
So that we run
so
things
under
separate.
human. Okay, so explicitly speaking, you have number 3 created public class. Mean under it, since it's a class, under that class I have the attributes, which are the integer age, character, strings, and integer sex. So you're able to access it under the void, public status void main, which is the method.
Yes,
To check human. With the human, you're able to figure, okay, under that human, I'm able to see the gender, the age. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. So this is the process that helps us to check that. It's called creating an object of a class.
Okay.
And this is how we do it, like what I just showed you here. That's how we would do it.
That number 20, do we need to remove it, or what's the purpose of line 20?
Line 20? This is another class. So class human starts from here and ends here.
Right.
Line 20 is a totally different class standing alone.
Class 22. Line 22, right?
Yes, it's its own class. Why? But then doing it like this is clumsy, right? It's very clumsy. So that's why people prefer just having this in another page, like we have right now.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Okay.
It makes things so easier to read, right? Because imagine if we had 100 classes and all 100 classes were here, this page would be a nightmare to read. And in case there's something wrong, to fix it is gonna be hard. So that's why we use different classes for different things, right? So we know this class runner, we use it to run. We only put what our public static void main method in here and do whatever we want inside here. And this is just a method Java gives us in order to write our things wherever we want them. Right. So now I was explaining this, that here I can access, the age, right? I can access the age, I can access the gender, the sex, and all that.
So that line number 9, human.jollof and 2 brackets, is that called? I think I've heard of that one being called function, right?
Yeah, that's just a method. You see, I am saying, hey, I created this object, right? It's the object name is human, and I'm using this object human to go inside human and get this method jollof and use it. Inside human, here is Jollof. This is a class human, it has this method, Jollof. Right, I can have another method in here called
okay. So the Jollof is a method. Instead of we having PSVM, right? You created your own method.
Yes, I
Got
created
it.
my own method.
Okay, got it.
And then I'm gonna have another method called hunting.
So you can have different methods, right?
You can have as many methods as you want inside the class.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Okay.
So when I come here, I can say human dot, I can get access to food. You see the method food?
Oh,
Yes, I
okay.
can come and say human dot access to the method hunting. You see that? Why? Because
So
all of these methods are public, you see?
oh, okay.
That means
So
anything
you have
inside here.
access. You have access to that method. You just check it and just put it.
Yes. So in order to get access
Okay.
to this method, the first thing you do is to create an object of this class by using the class name.
Okay.
Now in here, what we do is encapsulation is a process of hiding things, right? How do you encapsulate? Whenever you create attributes of a class, number one thing is you always put them as private every single time. You see what I'm doing?
So it's called a camp what?
Encapsulation.
Encapsulation.
Yes. You see,
So why you putting private now?
to make them private, that means in here, now when I say human dot, I have no access to those attributes. So that means anybody using our application is not gonna see our age, our this and our that.
Got it, got it. Okay, so the attribute you put in, not the method, right? So the attribute you put in it private, so they
Yes.
won't have access to your information.
Yes.
Okay.
So now the rule says encapsulation, this is what encapsulation says. Hey, whenever I create attributes of the class, right? But when we're inside this class, if we say sex here, we still have access to it when we're inside this class, right? Inside this class, we still have access to all of these guys, even though we put them private. They're only private to external users, but to us, it's good.
Okay, so when external people come, they can have access to it.
Like here, when I say human dot, I don't see sex, right? Or food or what, yeah. So now, when after you put them private, you wanna use methods that help you set the values and get the values of these attributes. Right, so we put them as private, but then how are we gonna put information in as we go? So we put information in them and we get their values by what are known as getters and setters. So getters and setters are methods that we use to set values for our attributes.
Can you comment and put the encapsulation and the setters and thesis? So that way.
Tell me in a way what you understood about encapsulation.
Okay. So you said encapsulation is a way of putting our attributes private, making them private, right? So that way um, um, people probably can have access to it, but we can still have access to it. Is that what
Inside, within,
encapsulation is?
yes, within the same method. In
Within
encapsulation,
the same-
you use getters and setters to set the values of the attributes, which are these guys, and to get the attributes of this one. And all of those methods are given to you in Java, so you don't really have to write them. So you just come here, right click, or I think it's Alt, Alt F, Alt F, Alt F. No, it's not. Oh yeah, it's out insert, right? You press out and insert key, you get this. It will tell you to generate, right? See that?
Out and what?
Out and insert, or you just right click. You right click, you see this, eh? You move down to generate. You click on it.
Okay.
And then you generate getter and setter.
Okay, so you right click and it will take you here.
Then you press control so that you can highlight all of these ones and you say, okay, it will create all these methods for you. I'm sure you've seen these methods in your code.
A lot.
So these are getters and setters. And the getter basically just takes your attribute that you had here and creates a method with get and then age starting with the capital letter of this guy. And then to create another one called set age. That takes in a value and then sets that value to age. You get that?
A little bit.
So why do we use these methods? I'll come back to it again. Why do we use these methods, these getters and setters, right? So that when we come here, if I say human dots, right? I say there's get age and there's set age. You see that? So I can go and set age to 10, like that.
Okay.
And if I come here and print out a human dot and get age, the age value, the age value for this variable here, age, I have put something in, right? I have set it here to 10. And when I
where
come
did you get online system? Where did you get age? Human dot get age. Where did that come from?
when you create the getters and setters here.
Oh yeah, I see it. Line 6, line 14.
Line 14, yes. These are just getters and setters that got created using our variable, right? Our variables is this gender and is private. So that when we're doing our code, we're going to put values in this. For me to put values in this now, I cannot just put this direct. I have to go through the method. That's why we are encapsulating. I have to go through this method. Gender to get it, but you first have to set it. I'll set the value and then I can get the value and then the value is going to be printed. So these are what are called getters and setters. They help our attributes.
You set it first, then you get it.
Exactly. Like listen to the English that is saying. It's called a setter because you set the value of the attribute. And then a getter, you get the value of the attribute. These are just generated for you. Right. So usually in every single code, you see a class with these things here does not have void cooking and all this. It usually is something like this. Just the attributes and the getters and setters. They call this the model class. They usually just call it the model class.
Model class, can you spell that? Model?
Just model class, MODEL, model class, because if we want to send something to the database, right, we are creating something like this. This is the template that we are going to send to the database.
Okay.
And per every iteration or thing we do, we're going to be putting these values ourselves using the setter and then get the values ourselves using the get.
Okay. So the setter will set it and getter will get the value.
Yes, this is what we call encapsulation. Where basically we moved from coming here and just having access to age, gender, name. To now, if I want to get access to age, I have to use this method, set age, instead of using this age here.
That makes sense.
So if I want to put the name, I can't say human.name now. Let's try that. If I come here, I can't say human. And you know, human is the name of the object, right? And what is the object? The object is just this class. We're just creating a quick version for this class, a template for this class. And we use the template for this class to access things inside that class. So this is the object. That's why if I say human.age like this, human.age like that, I can't access it. I can only access age through the methods, which are set age and get age. But without this age, let me remove private from this string, and say just name. Leave it as name like that, right? And I want to remove this set name and get name, right? So that you see the two things, right? So now you can say human dot name. You see, I get access to name
because it's not private anymore.
Yes, because it's not private anymore, and there are no getters and setters to get access to it. This is bad because that means anybody who's using our application is just gonna see the name right out. Okay. So we're showing people's information, right? So this is not good. That's why, in order to avoid that, the encapsulation says, hey, we need to change this to private first. You need to change this to private first. And after you change this to private, after you change this to private, I need you to then create two methods for me, one to set the value and one to get the value of this attribute over here. So all these getters and setters are just ways to get and set information for this guy over here. And each variable has its own. So gender, there is set gender, there is get gender. Name, there is set name, get name. You see, get name, set name, right? Let's move down. Get gender, set gender. You see that? Get name, set name. Get sex, set sex. You see that? And all of them are here. Sex, name, gender, age.
They are all the attributes for the public class.
So we've taken those attributes and hidden them into inside methods that Java gives us, and then we work inside from there.
Interesting. Okay.
Very
that explains a little bit. Yeah. So the under the class, public human class, which is a class, you can create your own method, and you can make it private.
Yes, you can create your own
method. For you to get, for it to be easier for you to get those attributes, you use the getters and setters.
Yes, to get access to not methods, to attributes.
To the attributes, rather.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna have another pause in the recording. Resume recording. Yeah, okay. Go ahead. What were you saying?
So I'm back to here, and so it says I'm supposed to create another object. I'm gonna take this off.
Yes. So what I'm saying here, booklet Java, that one is gonna give you errors. If there's a class that is not working, you should click on it. Let's say the reason why this one is not working is click on it, highlight on it.
On which one?
On where the error is. No.
This one?
Yeah. So click on it. It says modifier private not allowed here. Why? Because we are inside the method. And when you create these guys as private inside the method, the only way you can get access to them, you have to use getters and setters, but we can't use getters and setters inside the method. So when
you have to use get answer inside a class.
exactly, when we're dealing, we have to put the private when on these attributes when we are writing them directly under a class.
You just answered my question. This was when I was practicing. So
Okay.
normally I'm supposed to come here and do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So cut from there. Cut line 6 to 8 and paste it up there. You see. You're using copy. Just use cut.
Oh.
And wait 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. It shows you. I wanted you to see the shortcut to cut. Control X and Control V. Okay, Control V. You see now it works.
Oh, this is interesting.
Very
Okay.
interesting. Yeah.
But then you explained something to me. The class here is booklet. It didn't relate with the names, the age, name, gender.
Exactly.
The attributes are not the same.
Yeah.
So I'm still gonna get error if I keep going. So I guess.
No, you are not gonna get error. This is just fine.
Okay.
Because you're the one that determines these attributes, but you wanna put attributes that make sense, right?
Right.
When I'm talking about the booklet, right, we want to know the writer's name, when it was publishing date, and all those stuff. Those what we would need in terms of attributes, right?
Okay.
Then let's assume this is a library. We have method like is book in store, is book borrowed, is book returned, is book in clean condition.
So that would
Those
be
are the,
yes or no, all those kind of things.
yeah. So now that's not what we're looking at. Go back to the one you were working on, the dog one. Now, so now this what you have here. These are what are known as the attributes of the class. That's why these ones you need to make them private.
Okay.
So you wanna go ahead and make these guys private.
Okay.
Now,
so they look private.
Yes, now that they're private, say enter. In order for us to add values and remove them because of encapsulation, what are we supposed to put?
Say that again, go back again. What did you say?
In order for us to access these attributes and provide values for them and set their values and get their values, what things are we supposed to use that follows the rule of encapsulation?
You're supposed to use getters and setters.
Exactly, that's good. Now, and I showed you an easier way to get the getters and setters.
Yes,
so just
you said
right click. No, go to line 10.
Okay.
Right click. Go to generate. Getters and setter.
Just click getters first, right?
No, you can do them both at the same time. Easier.
Oh, okay, right there. Getters and setters.
And then control, and then you highlight everything. So
Control.
control, click, character. You wanna no, you wanna select select another one. You click and hold control. Yeah.
Okay, right there.
And
Okay.
then say okay. You see, it is
Yo,
created the getters
what
and setters
just
for it.
what just happened? Nah, this is the one that was confusing me. This was one that was confusing me in your page when you did. Oh,
These are getters
this
and
is deep.
setters. Those are just methods that we use to get the values of your attributes and set them. To set the values of your attribute and get them.
This is interesting.
You see that? And if you see your
Yeah.
getters and setters, they all have public, meaning you can access them from another page.
So since now, okay, let me get it now. So line 3, so line 9 was private. We made it private so that nobody will have access to it, correct? Okay, so we introduce getters and setters so that way if I want to work with it, it give me access to be able to work with it without people
Yes.
seeing what I'm doing, correct?
Yes. Yes. So that means anybody who is trying to hack you, right? They'll have to
Yeah, that was
first
the right
create.
word.
They'll have
Create
to
a getters and setters.
yes. They'll have to first create a method of the class. No, create an object of your class, and then use getters and setters to get those values. So it's impossible to do. That means
So do
that
we need to create object here, right?
no, if you are creating an object, you then want to go to create a new class called runner class. You want to call it dog runner class. It's just a class where you put your PSVM in the same folder.
So I can go here and say create a class
Dog runner.
called dog runner. Dog runner.
This is just a way, and inside here put the PSVM method. So the reason why we have this dog runner class is we just want to put the PSVM method and then do things in here to test our class that we just created.
Okay.
Now go to the then create an object of dog. Right, we want to access the dog class. So we need to create an object of the dog class. So if you wanted to access the booklet class, you have to create an object of what? Of the booklet class. If you want to access the person class, you want to create an object of person using the person class.
So if you want to access the booklet.java that I'm clicking here, I'm gonna create a object of that, correct?
Yes, yes. Right now, I want to use dog, so create an object of dog. And I showed you the trick of creating an object. I said, number one, you use the name of the class. So what's the name of the class?
Oh, the name of class is
the
right
class
here.
the class that's the class you want to create an object for, right?
The public class dog.
Yes. So now create an object of that. So no, you don't. To create an object, use you write the name of that class. What's the name of the class?
Dog is the name of the class.
Yes, okay. So write dog. Right? Dog space. Now you want to give this object, the one that you are creating. An object is like a receipt to or a key to get access to the house. So you want to give that key a name. What do you want to call it?
Okay, I want to give the dog. Okay, say that again. I think I missed that question.
So an object of a class is like a key to unlock that class, right? In order to get access to the things inside that class. So we're creating that key here, which is called an object. And I say the method of creating the key, you first need the name of the class that you want to open. And then you have to also, then second, you need to provide the name of the key. What do you want to call your key? What do you want to call it? What name do you want to give it?
I can give it open, maybe.
You can call it dog object.
Or object, okay.
No, not object like that. Like dog object, DOG, small letters.
Oh, okay. Dog object.
Okay,
I can't give it any name, yeah, but I have to give it a
can,
name that makes sense.
yes.
Okay.
You can call it dog jollof.
Okay.
And then you say space equals to space new. Then you use the new keyword. So new means you are creating a new object of that, a new key for that class. That's what new means.
Oh, okay.
Space. And then you see it automatically shows you click tab. Click tab. And close the semicolon. Now that's how you create an object of a class. I am going to, in the next phase of the lesson, I am going to teach you exactly how we create this object and where this new dog is coming from. So you understand it, right? But that is how you create a key. You have created the key or an object to get access to the dog class. So now in the next line, line 4, say enter. If you use the key, what's the key? Dog, right? Right, dog. That's your key that you put. We no longer need what's the name of the key?
Oh, the name of the key is dog.
Yes, so put that. You see, when you say dog, line 3 changed color to white to show that you are using it.
Oh.
And you say, no, don't give it space. When you write your key, put dot. Look now. Get age, get forex, get gender, set age, set forex, set gender, set name. All those are the attributes that you put in your dog class.
Okay. So the capital dog is the class that we had earlier.
Yes.
So now to have access, we come here to create the dog runner. Under the public stats, we're able to check and see, to look for what we're looking for under the dog class.
So line 3 is how you create an object of a class or a key to get access to that class.
Okay. Fantastic. That makes sense.
That makes sense. Okay, now use a setter method like set name. Set
name.
Yeah. And then put whatever name you want in there. And you see, it tells you on top string name. It tells you the type you have to put in those brackets.
So I can put any name, right?
Yes, but it should be a string.
Should be a string name.
Yeah, should be a type string. You can put whatever name you want, but it should be a type string.
Because I know string has quote, so it has to be in quote then. Is that correct?
Yeah. Good catch. Good catch. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. I can put my dog name. Favor.
Okay, now remember how we used to print out things, SOUT, SOUT? And then in there, you wanna get dog dot get the name.
Dot what?
Dog, the key, dog dot get name. Put dot, then get name. Because you have set the name up in line 4. Now run this thing. No, not there. Not there. Not there. On the side, yes.
So if I run it here, it won't work.
It shows you it's gonna run the Java strings. It says Java strings there. Run, click there. You see?
Okay.
It said
So
favor.
let me think this through. So I got a class dog and a key dog. Then we're making a new dog function. So we got dog dot. You said the name first, which is favor. Then system out print. You use the key to get a name. Okay. 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 That makes some sense.
Okay, so can you close the if example booklet and person.runner and leave just dog and dog run? Okay. So now, can you set the value? Do what you did in line 4, but can you set all the other attributes?
Other attributes?
Yes, using the dog object. So it's dog dot. And then you print out dog dot one. Just like what you did above.
Oh, 1 second. So I did dog new. Got the name.
So you already
Okay,
have the
so what is
key. You don't have to create another key, right? So just use the key that you have to get access to the other variable.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What's the name of your key?
Dog.
Exactly. Type set.
Oh, okay. Set name.
You already set the name already in line 4.
Oh yeah, I said the name. So I can do get age.
What are you getting before you said?
Huh?
What are you getting something before you said it? Because right now we don't have the value of age, so we have to use set age first in order before we get it.
Oh, set age. Yeah. So here we do set name. So getters and setters. Okay. 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 So set age first. You can set the age to be what? 5.
Doesn't it say integer on top? Is that an integer?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I know what happened. Integer is the numbers, but this one I can just put 5.
Why? Why are you complicating yourself? Click out of that. Cancel that. Cancel those quotations. Yeah, right. Hoover inside there again.
Where?
Start
Oh,
afresh.
okay.
Cancel that. Dot. Dot. Set age. You see, right now it tells you set age takes an integer.
Yes.
Yes. And why are you putting quotation marks? How do you put integer value?
Integer has no quotation. Yes.
Yes. So then why did you put it with quotation?
Yeah, that's true.
Uh-huh.
That's why it was messing me up. Okay.
Exactly.
Integer. Okay, 5.
Mm. And then you can go ahead and get that age value. And I want you to do the same for the other two, for those other two variables. I'll let you do it as I'm here.
Okay.
Try and figure it out first before you ask.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you said should run.
What method did you use on line 7?
It says get name.
Is that what you're trying to get? Is that what you just said right now?
No, that's not what I said. I'm supposed to say get name. Get name came from Doc said. Yeah, I'm confusing myself. Okay. Here, but
So let's take a step back. Cancel line 7. All of it.
okay.
What did we do on line 6?
We said
Explain.
the age. Getters and setters, right?
And then
So
now what are we trying to do after setting the age? What's the next step?
so we said the age. We're trying to get it now.
Yes. So how do you get it?
Okay. I see. I'm using the wrong setters and getters. Okay. So you got a dog. So we set the age. Now we need to get the age.
You see, that wasn't hard, was it?
No.
Exactly. So now, before run it now.
Huh. Okay. So whenever you set whatever you have to get. So they have to go together. Okay. Let's see the other
Yes.
one. Okay. So here we have dog. We said the name. Favor.
What other attributes are you
Don't
missing?
get.
Right, that's the
So we
gender.
did name. We
We
did
did the name
name.
already.
Yeah.
So I'm missing
So
gender.
we did the age. So I'm missing gender and folate.
Yes.
Gender
You know what really pisses me off?
No.
If I need to explain the same thing 4 times before you write code, if you don't understand, just let me know. I don't understand, then I go over it again. Right now, what are you trying to do in line 8? What are we trying to do in line 8?
Line 8, we're trying to do the getters and setters.
Yes, what are you
Oh
getting?
yeah. So I'm supposed to do set name first.
Exactly, because we have to set something before we get it, right?
Yes.
Good job.
So we set the name. Uh,
Why are we setting the name? Haven't we already set the name? I think there's something that you're not understanding.
yeah,
What is
I'm
it that you're
missing.
not understanding? What are
I'm
you missing?
missing. Okay, so I'm thinking this right here is what's messing me up. This so when you set it, when you say set getters and setters, right?
Yes.
So you came to this, the first one we did. Okay, so you got a dog, which is a class. I got it from that stage, and you have the objects, the dog and the new dog. Okay, so now we're setting the name. You set the name of the new dog, which is from here, right? You set it to be Favor. Oh, we already did that. That's true. Okay, so what are we doing here? Is the gender. We've not done gender yet. We've done the name. We've done the age. So we've not done gender. So we don't need to set name anymore. I hope I'm right. Set name. So get us. You have to get gender.
Where are you getting the
No,
gender from?
no, wait. No, my bad. You don't get gender. You have to set the gender first. Getters and
Why is
setters.
that?
Because when you have to set it first, like the name says set, you set the gender so that way you can get it.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so you set the gender.
And when you're there, it tells you character gender on top. You see, it tells you what it needs in the parentheses, what type of data it needs. It tells you on top.
Right. So the gender we assume, what did you give it a gender name? No. So gender will say female.
Mhm.
No, female.
How does a character variable? That's something I told you the first day.
One string. Oh, the character is one string. One quote.
Uh-huh.
Let's double one quote.
So everything you learned the first day carries on to the
Okay.
second day and to the rest of your life.
Okay. So now we set it. We set the gender. Now we have to get it.
Good job.
Now we get the gender. Okay, so I guess we'll run it. Okay. Oh, my head is blowing up. I guess is that getter set that is blowing. Okay, now I know what to do next. You go to dog. Set it first. What are we doing next? Okay, so set the four legs. So this is
You see, it tells you there what type. What type does it want?
bowling. True or
And
false?
yeah, okay, good. The Boolean values are always start with a small letter.
We're still giving me false. Oh, he wants me to write it out. That's true. Okay. Set it. We already set it now. Set for legs to be true. Now we gotta get it. Okay, so everything we learned from beginning came back. So we have the true for the bowling, character for female, integer for 5, and strengths, strength for favor. Okay, all right. What do you think? I know I stressed your brain up a little bit.
No, not at all. I'm a patient teacher, so my God is that you understand. What? Explain to me now what we just did and what you just did from start.
Okay, so we have we created a class dog with the attributes integer, age, character, gender, string name, and boolean for. Now, because I may want to make it private, so that way nobody else have access to or can hack into a profile or whatever we're doing. So I made it private, and because I want to continue working, while nobody's able to hack my work, I created another object to be able to get into another object with a key to be able to get into those attributes, which is what we did here as a dog runner.java,
Okay.
and, and give us access to those attributes here. Of
Okay.
course, we encapsulate
Mhm.
to be able
What
to
is it?
get all these.
What is encapsulation?
Encapsulation is when we right click and encapsulation give us adding those private to it encapsulates our attributes.
Basically, encapsulation is creating attributes as private, then using getters and
Okay.
setters to access them in order to protect sensitive information. Mm.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause for now.
Okay.